All right, let's see. What was this called again? Huh. Um, yeah, I'm not saying all that. So I'm a huge fan of the John Wick franchise, and I was definitely interested in seeing Ballerina, not to be confused with the South Korean Ballerina movie that came out a couple years ago, which is on Netflix. It's actually very good. But I had my expectations sort of in check with this one because you never quite know when it comes to these sort of spin-off movies that will come out after you have a successful franchise coming to a close with John Wick Chapter 4. But I'm very happy to report that I really loved Ballerina. Obviously, thematically and aesthetically, it does share a lot of similarities with the John Wick movies, but I think it does a pretty good job at kind of carving out its own identity with this movie. And I think there's a sequence that happens very early on that I think kind of defines the sort of overall attitude that this movie had with the way it wanted to approach not only this character, but this character's relationship with the world. And you have this sequence, and it's the kind of sequence we've seen before in action movies where you'll have the lead character kind of walking through this sort of like building after an action sequence has already occurred that we haven't seen, and you're just seeing like this path of destruction that they left behind. And it's very funny, and she's collecting like knives that she's sort of stuck in people on her way up, and she's like leaving the building and it's like a mess, there's bodies everywhere, and she gets into her car, which is like crashed into someone. It's like pitting them against the wall, and she like backs up and then drives away. And the camera sort of cranes up as we sort of see them leave, and you think, okay, that was a fun little scene. But then there's a car in the distance, still in the same shot. It crashes into her car, brings it back in front of the building. The camera comes back down, and there's like a brief sort of action scene that occurs there. And that sort of sudden sort of shift, I feel like, kind of defines a lot of what this movie is doing, not only with the action scenes, but also with the character and how she kind of engages with the people around her and the world. And of course, the sort of complicated rules that apply to this world of assassins. Of course, the action sequences are fantastic. There's no surprise there. This is from 87 North Productions. This is their bread and butter after having sort of redefined what the American action movie looks like with the John Wick films. And they do a great job at kind of incorporating Ana de Armas's sort of size and stature within the fight choreography. And there's also just some really fun action scenes that they do. There's like a whole scene where she's fighting through a building using just grenades. And there's a flamethrower fight. Honestly, the whole third act of this is just nonstop, and it's just so much fun, and it's so violent and chaotic and so big with what it's doing. It's just so impressive. If you're the kind of person who considers the first John Wick film to be their favorite of the series, then I think you'll like this movie quite a bit because, like with the first John Wick, the stakes feel so much more intimate and personal with this one. It is a revenge narrative, and it does a good job at sort of getting you to kind of feel the rage and the wrath that is kind of lurking under the surface of our lead character. And you want her to kind of seek the revenge that she's looking for and to find this person who's responsible for the death of her father. It's really engaging, and Ana de Armas is, of course, fantastic in kind of pulling off the kind of raw emotions that come with it. So yeah, I had a great time with the film. I had an absolute blast with it. If they ever make more, I will definitely be seated for it because I did really enjoy this character, and I would definitely like to see more of her. Honestly, anytime there is a movie that basically just gives stunt coordinators and fight choreographers opportunities to basically just flex for the camera for the entire runtime, it's gonna be my jam kind of regardless. So I was kind of primed to really enjoy this. But yeah, it's definitely one that I had a lot of fun with. So those are my thoughts on Ballerina. If you've seen the film, feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments.